What is going on, guys? Alejandro here, and welcome back to another episode of Magayon. In this episode, we're going to be building the mountain dwellings. Well, we're not actually going to be building the mountain dwellings like the building, copying, but we're just taking inspiration from the real-life building of the same name, Mountain Dwellings by Big, which is an architecture firm headed by Bjarke Ingels, which is one of my favorite architects. Because if you didn't know, based on the title of the past few episodes, I'm going to be studying architecture school in university. So yeah, I'm going to be talking more about the building later on in the video, but for now, let's focus on what's happening on the screen. So what you're seeing here is me trying to make a three-way intersection with bike paths, and yeah, it's not looking good. I mean, if I have any Dutch viewers there, if you have any suggestions on how to fix this, because I was looking at, after I finished this intersection, I was looking at bike intersections on the internet, and then I saw that bikes don't actually turn left on like the same way as cars. They actually go with the pedestrians. They share the same path, but on the more inner side or something. Here's a little picture of that. You can see that they are going around the intersection, not through it, which is much safer. Yeah, I'll be changing that in the future, and also I'll be making more of those same style as those in later episodes. But yeah, for now, if you have any suggestions on how to fix this, hit me up down below. And yeah, you see me place this yellow square with a cross in it. I think in the Philippines we have a lot of these, especially in the main roads or intersections of main roads. And I think my dad told me once, I was like asking, why is there a cross in the middle of the intersection? And he said that it was that is a symbol for you should not be in that intersection. No cars are allowed inside the yellow box. So correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what he said. I'm just relaying information from my father, so if it's wrong, it's his fault. But anyways, yeah, just placing down custom markings, because yeah, I like to place them manually rather than because it's a bit messy when you use different roads, because I'm not using a single type of road. I'm not using vanilla roads. I'm not using completely custom roads. I'm using a mix of roads and various different assets. My highways are a total wreck, and I'm going to be fixing the highway network further down the line. I'm going to be remastering my previous episodes, because the first few ones are a bit cringy. Yeah, I don't recommend you watch them. You start watching after I build the perfect trio, the perfect trilogy, yeah, where I build the interchange, roundabout, and intersection. But yeah, for now we're just going to be focusing here on the waterfront, and the next few episodes, here we're building a time traffic light, which is, yeah, the time traffic light has green. Turning right is always green, but yeah, going straight through the boulevard, you're not going to be able to go straight through because there's a yellow box in there. So they take turns, like one traffic light for the one going east, one going west, and one from that perpendicular road down there. And yeah, the traffic there is very much, the flow of traffic is nice. It's continuous, it's clean, and yeah, I'm just not allowing a lot of left turn lanes, and all people turning left will only be able to turn left on specific roads, the bigger roads there, and then the others are just right turn lanes, because these are basically what avenues are. I'm not sure. I'm not that much of a road person, an engineer on the roads, but I'm more on the aesthetic side, because I am, once again, going to be studying architecture and not studying engineering. That's why I didn't take engineering, because there's a lot of maths, there's a lot of this, but it's fun seeing traffic flow the way you want it to, but sometimes it can be hard. And now we're finally here at what we've been waiting for, the mountain dwellings. And yeah, I actually had 4 trials for this. I had one like last week, directly after I built the waterfront hotels and residential buildings. I built that afterwards, like as part of the episode, but I cut it because I wasn't generally satisfied. I wasn't satisfied with the result. So the next few days after I uploaded the last episode, which is right here, I tried to redo the next episode, because it just looks so ugly. And yeah, I was thinking of the building, like the inspiration, just off the top of my head, but for this instance, I looked back at the building and how it actually looked like, so I'd be a little bit more accurate. And now you'd see me fix the heights and stuff. And yeah, I'm going to be showing you the actual building for now. Here's the actual building. You'd see that the slopes here are a little bit more lower. The slopes are not too sharp. The slopes are not too steep. That's the word that I was looking for. But the slopes here, I think, at a higher angle than this one. But it is what it is, and I'm just using what's available on the game to make something that has the same vibe as the original building, because this is not a total recreation. This is just what we can make with what we have in the game. So if you are familiar with these buildings right here, these are from the Green Cities DLC, and these assets and the assets that I've used in the last episode are also Green Cities DLC. They have been a game changer for a lot of reasons. Once again, as I repeat myself again and again, the buildings here are just each size of the building and each level. It's essentially the same building but in various heights. So level 1 buildings are lower, and the higher the level you go, the taller the building gets. So yeah, so that's why. But instead of using the different levels of buildings for this conglomerate of mush of buildings here, I just used one level 4 building, and then I just changed the heights of it so that yeah, because it has different designs also. It's not just different heights, they're slightly different from each other, but they're essentially the same. That's what humanity in the world. Anyways, getting back on the video without getting philosophical and go to huge tangents, which I am very much. Yes, we're going to be building the base, the under the part of the houses. Look at the picture. I'm going to be showing you the picture of the original building. Now, in the original building, it's a parking garage directly under it, and there's only one level of houses. But in this one, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 floors. So yeah, because this is supposed to be, imagine, this is supposed to be like a huge building, a huge residential block, but because of the zoning code of the city, which doesn't allow specific places in the city must have unobstructed views of the Capitol building, this part of the city was part of that like rule. So you'd see I'll show you a picture of the vista, the protected vista. Here it is. So that's why this building is shaped the way it is, so that from this point in the city you'd have unobstructed views of the Capitol building. And we're going to be having a lot more of those in the future as we progress further on in the series. But for now, here's my first attempt at making the base. I tried making it completely commercial and fill it with a lot of, because this is essentially the back side of the houses. Nobody is living here. Everyone is facing the south side. So you'd see the slope. That's where everybody has windows. That's where everybody lives. And this side is more of like an access road. This is like where the bathrooms are or something, like those dark sides, because nobody's going to look at them. And the windows are smaller. So that's essentially what I thought. And you see me place that road that goes up on a slope. I didn't finish it well in this episode, and I wasn't able to record me doing it, but I'm going to be redoing that in later down the line. And you'll also see a lot of things here don't end up in the final cinematics and the final output of this building, because this was such a huge task. I thought it was only gonna take like 2 hours or so, but it actually took me 6. I think 6. If half of the footage that is here, you're seeing only half of the footage that I actually did for this project, and half of those is sadly deleted because it was just failure upon failure upon failure. But if it didn't fail, how would you know where you went wrong, and how would you know where you were supposed to change or for the better? You know what I mean? So yeah, this is one of those failures. So I was not satisfied with that messiness of the base, and I changed it later on to become much more unified, so that it looks like it's all owned by a single building, not like some mix and match of various different restaurants. But yeah, you'll be seeing that later down the road. But for now, I'm going to be explaining what this actual original building is. So this original building that I'm taking inspiration from is a parking building actually, but there is a residential building on top of it. So here are a lot of pictures of it. You'd see that the parking buildings are like also sloped, and when you go up there you go through slopes and ramps, and yeah, I think it looks cool. Another reason for the slope is to have a lot more sunlight in the city, and to make the building look more, look more not monotonous, not basic, not bland, to make it a little bit more, unique on its own or something. Anyways, getting back on the video, we are now, this is the part where I changed the base because I wasn't satisfied with what it looked like. I'm using these, I don't know what these are, but it's from an expansion pack in this. I'm not sure, I have a lot of DLCs that I can't keep track of which ones is, but yeah, I'm using some of the commercial base, those just plop on the bottom of European buildings, and also these, I think this is from the university DLC, the U building. Those are commercial buildings. And yeah, this is the road thingy that I'm doing. I'm taking inspiration from it looks like an opera house or something I saw a while back. I think it's from China. I'm very much not familiar with. I've seen a lot of things, and I can't keep track of what those things were, but it's in my head, and we're just applying it in game. And yeah, I wasn't satisfied with the concrete, because the building, it's not actually sloped or something. The concrete is still there, and I just had to play with it. And I tried placing these glass, but these glass, they still had that jagged edge you'd see there. So this is what I was saying. I'm so nanghihinayang, I don't know the word in English. I'll put it right here. Because I wasn't able to record me building this glorious sloping thing. And here's a picture of that. It's shaped like it's like opening up to the road, and this intersection is a very heavy intersection, and it's very, very, very very big, and it's a main road, so it's like an attraction to the city. So under it, it's like public, but on the top it's private residential. It's solely residential and commercial on the base, with a little bit of office museum type of thing in the bottom. But getting back to the video, you'd see that, you see changes. I used the node controller to make it thicker, to give it like circularities, to make it smoother and to make it more curvy. It's giving me very much Zaha Hadid vibes, if you know what I mean, my fellow architecture fanatics or fellow architecture students out there. I'm building the residential area. History on why we have low density residential beside towering apartment buildings, even though the scaling is super way off and they're so small, as you can see right there, and the houses are gigantic, is because here in the metro, the cities, the tall buildings are added in later, and before they were there, they were already like low level buildings, and the zoning had to change as the city grew, because Manila, the capital city, didn't have enough space, so they decided to just reallocate those basic spaces to become more higher density. And that's a little bit of history on that, and a little bit more history. This is history for why these houses are still here, is because the people living beside the waterfront are actually kind of rich, and they didn't allow these buildings to be taken down, because it's like important to their families and stuff, for history and for stuff and all that kind of stuff, for generations and all that kind of stuff. So they didn't allow their houses to be developed. And also a reason why these houses still stay here is because of, once again, unobstructed views of the capital. You see it right here. You can see that's why they're there. And but further depending on where you are, some buildings are a bit taller, and some other mid mid-level, mid-density, medium density buildings like this one. And this is like a dormitory type of building, because I am planning, if you didn't see the last episode where I did some stuff planning district zoning, there is actually going to be a university on the right side, right there beside the Capitol building. It's going to be one of the oldest universities in the city, and I'm taking inspiration from Manila, so I don't know what university. Here's a picture of that university right there, which I'm taking inspiration from. Yep, but I'm not going to be taking. I'm just took inspiration of the location of the university, but not the university itself. But we'll see. We're still a little bit early on in the series. And speaking of the series, here's a little bit of an update for the series. So the next two episodes, or next episode 19 and 20, we're going to be still focusing on this area along the waterfront. But on episode 21 and for the next few ones, we're going to be focusing on the old walled city, because I conducted a poll in last week, on a few episodes ago, on which area of the city of Magayon we're going to be developing next. And I asked you guys whether or not I should build the old walled city or the highway going around the city, because I was thinking that we need people in the city. We need cars to drive into the city along the highways, and put small towns in there as placeholders and focus more on the highway infrastructure. But I also was very much interested in building the old walled city, and the old city, which was the old capital of the city. It's prehistoric. It's like a World Heritage site, and so that won the polls. And I'm kind of split on that, but anyways, I wanted to do both of them, do the highway and the old city. But I'm kind of excited for that. I'm going to be downloading some assets, because I tried downloading the Indonesian houses pack, but they were a little bit too big, and they're blocky. I want to make it a little bit more customized, and I think I'm going to be using them in some places, but I'm going to be using some of, I think, Mediterranean assets. But here's what the first draft that I did early on in the second phase of Magayon. As you can see here, that the roofs are in the light orange, I think. Even though we're in a volcanic place, the sediments, just imagine that the sediments in the riverbank is orangey or something. That's why the roofs are orangey or clay. That's why we have to architecture. Once again, architecture of buildings also depend on where you are in the context of the situation you're in, and because this is prehistorical, not prehistorical. This is a very old city. We're going to be using a little bit of the local buildings here. But what happened to the old city? The old city is not actually 100% the old city, because I'm taking inspiration from Manila, right? So Manila is actually, nothing in Manila is. Every building that you see in Manila is built after World War II, except a few buildings. But essentially, the whole of Manila was decimated after World War II, and all the buildings that you're seeing there have been rebuilt after the war. So we're going to be putting a little bit some of that into consideration in making the old walled city. But instead of everything being demolished, it's going to be a few buildings, and some buildings will retain their old buildings, their old style, and some of them are going to be sadly changed to newer ones. But most of it is going to be completely refreshed, redeveloped, restored to its original state with newer technologies. Yes, I'm so excited for the old walled city, because I'm going to be able to tackle more into the history and to talk about more on architecture and more of that, because that's what I'm interested in. And City Skylines is a nice place to talk about my interests and what I want to do in life and stuff, and to share our culture, because sharing is caring, or whatever. And also a great City Skylines might be a great medium, but I'm thinking of doing a Minecraft series where I build more of on the building side of things, instead of the city scale, on the building scale. But yeah, that's just going to be later on in the future. But now I'm just placing these gates because nobody would want like their house just open to the public. So you'd have these like tall gates. They're like taller than people. And in the Philippines, you have a lot of these. Like a lot of houses have fences, and the richer people are, or when you are deep in the city center, your houses should have a tall wall because you wouldn't want people to be invading your privacy and everything. So yeah, that is the end of the video. Actually, I had a lot of fun building this one, except maybe the fact that I took 2 hours trying to just get the right scale, to get the right shape to get the right slope of the mountain dwellings. And also, if you didn't know, the intersection right there, beside the like opening opera house type of thing, I did try to detail that, but it sucked. I got too carried away and another hour of my life wasted. But hopefully this video will get back my hour's worth. So if you want to get back the hour's worth that I wasted, consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so you'd be notified whenever I upload another amazing video. But if you want to support me even further in creating higher quality, more frequent videos, consider becoming a patron. That's patreon.com/Calejandro, and get exclusive content, early access to my videos, and become an official citizen of Magayon. Plus, I'm going to be having a community Discord where we can talk all about Magayon and anything related to Magayon. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below what you want to see next. Once again, don't forget to subscribe. This is Calejandro, signing off. Bye!